I'm going to show you how your sales team is performing at 50% of their capacity and how that's costing you millions of dollars. Before I get into this any deeper, you might be wondering, who is this dude? Why I should even listen to this guy? So let me kind of explain, let me give you some short context here. Throughout my career as a performance coach for entrepreneurs, I had the pleasure to work with top leaders in the space, hundreds of entrepreneurs like Jordan Platten, Thomas Gannett, Matt Shields, Nathan Nazareth, and a lot of other people you've probably seen. We've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, sales professionals, and executives to help them with this. So what do I mean when I say that your sales team is performing at the 50% of their capacity? Let's actually break it down. Let's break the maths down. Let's take your best closer, for example, and measure their average level of performance. What do I mean by average level of performance? I don't mean closing rate or offer rate or any kind of that stuff. This is sales performance. Let's talk about their average level of mental performance. Energy levels, sharpness, clarity, and focus from a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is I can't keep my eyes open from a lack of energy. 10 is I'm on 100 Red Bulls and can't take calls 24/7 without even blinking. Now, what I've found after working with hundreds of entrepreneurs, sales professionals, agency owners, executives, is that this number is typically around the 4 to 6 mark. So if we average it out from the 10 scale, it's going to be a 5. Now let's take that sales rep, that closer, and let's say that he takes 5 sales calls a day, and with a very conservative 20% closing rate, it's probably it's probably more for most people, but let's say we keep it super conservative, 20% closing rate, he manages to close 1 deal and collect an average of like 4K. Again, it's probably going to be more, but let's keep it super conservative, okay? This across the whole month is about 20 sales with 80K cash collected per closer, right? Now let's dive into this a bit deeper and see how the 50% performance level that we talked about is affecting this equation. In the picture that I shared above, the metric that has the highest level of impact, besides the price of your offer, is your closing rate, or your closer's closing rate this year. If we change it a little bit, the cash collected is going to go through the roof. This is the variable with the biggest impact. So let's see the variables that determine or influence your team's closing rate the most. Let's see the variables that are behind this metric with the biggest impact. Number 1 is going to be your offer. Number 2 is going to be the closer's sales skills. Number 3 is going to be the lead quality. But what about the closer's mental performance? Let's say, for example, your offer is a 10 out of 10, best offer in the game. Your closer's sales skills are a 10 out of 10, and the lead quality is a 10 out of 10. Does that mean that the closing rate will be at 100%? Probably not. Because what if the closer is a 10 out of 10 on all of those variables, but they show up in the call, they're tired, they're foggy, and can't articulate the words properly? What if their lack of focus caused them to miss important things the prospect said on the call that serves as very strong and very powerful ammunition? What if they're stressed out and start burning out after a couple of calls? Won't those issues affect your closing rate? It probably will. And this means that besides the 3 variables that we covered here, which is offer, sales skills, and lead quality, we saw above the other key variable that will also affect your team's closing rate is their level of mental performance. And more specifically, what exactly is mental performance? It usually boils down to 3 main things, which is energy levels, mental clarity, and focus. That's, if we're talking about sales, those are the things that matter, okay? It's not about longevity. It's not about like libido. It's mostly about those 3 variables when you are on the phone with people that matter the most. So then let's now do this equation again, but this time let's calculate the variable of mental performance as well and see how this affects our equation of cash collected, closing rate, etc. Let's take the same guy, best closer, and let's say he's closing at 20%, super conservative. Let's say your offer is, let's make it more realistic now so that the math makes sense. Let's say your offer is a 7 out of 10. Their sales skills are a 7 out of 10, and the lead quality is a good 7 out of 10. But let's say their energy levels, mental clarity, and focus, all things that also impact your closing rate, as we saw, are a 5 out of 10. Again, we've worked with hundreds of people, with hundreds of entrepreneurs, executives, sales professionals, and we've seen that Usually the number, some people say that they're performing at a 4, some people say performing at a 7 and a 6. If we were to draw the biggest line, like if we were to connect the most amount of dots, it would be around the 5 out of 10. So this is me trying to give you an example, which is the average. So if, let's say everything is a 5 out of 10, this is your performance level. So we're like behind the performance level, we have energy, mental clarity, focus, blah, 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 right? So the performance level acts as a multiplier. And I'm going to explain why in a moment. But let's say the offer, sales skills, link quality stay exactly the same to show you how much this affects your work output and closing rate. And the only thing that you can change is the energy levels, mental clarity, and focus. Let's see that live. We change that to an 888. This multiplier here increases. So your level of performance, mental performance, increases. And as a result of that, your closing rate doubles because this acts as a multiplier. Why does this act like a multiplier? Because it affects your level of verbal acuity and articulation on the call. It actually, you have the exact same skills, but you're able to deliver the skills better on the call because you're not foggy. You're able to focus 100% on what the prospect says. You're not stressed out, and every call after call after call, you're able to maintain that energy for the entire day without burning out after a couple of calls, even if you're the top sales guy. But you're probably like, this is BS, or how does this even make any sense? Or I function on pure adrenaline and modafinil and Adderall and coffee. It doesn't make any sense for me. This is not applicable. Because having your sales team go from a 5 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10 in regards to their energy levels, mental clarity, and focus will not probably increase their closing rate but merely a 40%. It will also allow them to improve their sales skills faster and articulate themselves better on the call. It will allow them to stay concentrated on what the prospect says on each specific call. It will allow them to be in a better mood and more positive. It will allow them to be more coachable on your leadership calls. It will allow them to have more motivation and drive to improve their own performance instead of just doing the bare minimum. So yes, their closing rate will probably increase more than 2x. You'll have an exponential return after doing this. And let me put this into perspective. Let's say you have your sales metrics, and the thing that you track after your closers get on calls are probably going to be things like closing rate, show rate, offer rate, average cash collected, maybe a reschedule rate, maybe deposits, cash per call, revenue per call, etc. Those are the things that you measure for your sales reps' performance, right? It's probably right. Let's take that a level deeper and calculate what you should be measuring to actually identify that your closing rate, that your closers are underperforming and are actually performing at 50% of their capacity around that mark. So this is this leaky bucket here represents everything that is around the call, everything that happens inside a sales call from your closer, right? So this is the metrics like closing rate, show rate, offer rate, all the metrics that are around the sales call. The leaky bucket is how can you improve those metrics? And as we saw, it's going to be things like your lead quality. It's going to be things like your offer. So let's actually draw lines here. Your offer here. This is one of the things that you can do to improve the leaky bucket. Lead quality. Sales skills. So the reason I'm drawing those lines here to the leaks in the bucket is because the main thing that you can do to improve the cash that you're collecting and your closer's performance is improve your offer. That's going to allow you to collect more cash. It's going to improve your lead quality by improving the messaging, the ads, and all that stuff. It's going to improve your cash collected. Improving the sales training and the sales skills is going to reduce the amount of leaks in the bucket. But there's also another leak in the bucket that you're not addressing, probably not addressing properly. And that one leak is mental performance. And the problem is that you're probably doing something like most sales teams, average sales teams are doing stuff to improve or address their performance. Like I've worked with hundreds of companies, and I've seen that their accountability kind of culture is, yeah, I'm gonna show you that I walked like 10,000 steps a day. I ate clean. I went to the gym. I woke up at the time that I was supposed to wake up. And those are like the best practices every sales team, your typical sales team follows to make sure that they're showing up and performing at their level that they should be performing at. But let me show you why this is a bad idea to do. You see, all of those metrics here, offer, lead quality, sales skills, you have tangible data to back them up and to see exactly where the problem is and what you need to do to improve it. You're tracking your closing rate, you're tracking your show up rate, you're tracking your offer rate, you're tracking your average cash collected per call. And so if you change any one of those variables, like offer, you will see other metrics that directly show the feedback loop. So for example, your offer, this will show by the metrics on the call, right? Your lead quality, again, will show by the cash collected. Sales skills, this will directly impact the stuff here. There are other things that you can do to improve the funnel and the sales process, like the landing page conversion, the VSL conversion. Those are things that you have metrics behind to see exactly where you should focus more of your efforts. Is it that your leads are very unqualified? Is it that it's a lead problem, or is it a sales problem? The problem with those things that you're doing here to address mental performance, which is a huge leak in the bucket, is that you don't have tangible metrics to actually address mental performance. Because let's say, okay, you walk 10,000 steps, you take an ice bath, you eat healthy, right? This will probably improve your performance for the short term. So this acts like a band-aid in the bucket, while all the other things here act like good solutions that are actually making the leak smaller and smaller and smaller. It's like a welding machine that essentially welds the metal together, and it's a permanent solution. But for the mental performance bucket, or the mental performance leak here, you're actually applying a band-aid with a general solution that will probably work for now, that you just do those best practices and you hope for the best. Let's actually see, what do I mean by this. So, have you ever thought about analyzing your closers' sleep quality? Instead of actually having them send you a Slack message or a WhatsApp message with the time that they wake up, their alarm, send you a picture that they woke up at X time, actually analyze how their sleep quality was in terms of the metrics, to be able to see what you should improve to help them wake up with more energy and perform better at the sales calls. Again, when they're on sales calls, you can see their script, you can see the words that they're saying, you can see that how many of the leads that they're jumping on calls with are qualified, which are tangible metrics that you can improve from the back end, from your offer quality, from your lead quality, from your sales skills. But those things, mental performance, is what allows you to deliver on the skills and show up on the calls, call after call after call, consistently. And the things that are behind your mental performance, so we know things that are behind the offer, right? The price, you already know exactly what you need to do. You already know exactly what you need to do to fix this. You already know exactly what you need to do to fix this. You know the metrics behind lead quality. You know, like you can increase the friction in your booking page, right? This is one of the things. You know exactly what you can do to improve this, but you probably apply the band-aid solution to the leak of the bucket, this hole here, for mental performance. Because you don't know exactly what you need to do to improve this. You just know that this, like sleeping better, eating healthier, going to the gym, doing 10,000 steps a day, not depending on modafinil and coffee every day, is probably the best, like a good solution. But is that quantifiable with metrics? Probably not. And this is where we can't really patch that leak in the bucket. And this is why you keep underperforming, or your sales team keeps underperforming and burning out and not really showing up at their best. Because there are things like, let me show you now. The first thing here that we're going to talk about is sleep quality. Actually tailoring your routine and your closer's routine based on their circadian clock and pattern and stress levels and recovery to optimize for their sleep quality so that they're waking up feeling energized, refreshed, clear, and sharp every single day, consistently. And the problem is that most sales teams will have like a specific schedule that they like, a routine that they will have them on, but it's not personalized. Me, for example, I perform best when I go to bed at 10 and I wake up at 7 a.m. And I track this with my Oura Ring, and I can see the data that is backing up the metrics. And I can quantifiably, predictably do this day in, day out. I know exactly what to do each day, before bed, after bed, throughout the day, to maximize my performance. The next variable that you're probably missing is blood tests. Testing instead of having your sales team do personality type tests and generic tests that don't really provide you with a lot of tangible insights for their performance specifically, why not have your team do specific blood work to analyze their nutrient deficiencies, hormone levels, nutrient status, overall blood count, so that you can see if they should be taking any specific supplements, if they should be changing any specific habits in the day that are actually affecting them on a biological level. And what do I mean by this fluff is if they have, for example, low vitamin D, which vitamin D heavily affects mental performance, recovery, stress levels, testosterone levels. By increasing the consumption of vitamin D and getting your vitamin D to the optimal range, this is going to directly increase mental performance, energy levels, mood, stress capacity, everything. So instead of telling your sales team to not eat carbs in the morning because this will make them feel foggy, actually test their blood work, their hormone levels, the nutrient deficiencies, and be able to identify specifically what their diet should look like based on the data. And then the other thing that you're probably missing, now I'm not sure if you're missing this, but you're probably going to be missing this, and I'm saying this by experience, is gut health testing. Again, instead of telling your team to go on a paleo diet or on a keto diet, because that's what's going to be best for mental performance based on the contradictory information you saw online, why not have your team take a gut health test, which is going to show them exactly what are the foods that their bodies align with, what are the foods that cause inflammation to their gut. And by the way, why do I even mention this specifically? It's because 80% of your immune system is in your gut. 50% of your total dopamine production happens inside of your gut. And 90% of your serotonin production happens inside the gut. So if I feel moody, unmotivated, undriven, and foggy, dopamine and serotonin have almost everything to do with it. And where do you produce most of those two neurochemicals? In the gut. And so by not addressing your diet specifically and tailoring it based on your gut health test results, you're actually hoping for the best by, I guess, drinking gut healthy foods like kefir, or drinking or taking probiotics and prebiotics and like eating vegetables. Well, actually here, if you see this specific test for this specific person, it's actually not optimal for him to eat beef or bell peppers. Foods that are typically healthy for other people like myself. And this is causing inflammation and brain fog. So again, this is another leak in the bucket that doesn't allow your team to perform at their highest capacity. And then let's actually see what is this here? What is the other thing that you're probably missing as well? Well, the other thing that you're probably missing is being able to quantify performance and focus levels throughout the day. Being able to have, like, we use this specific software here that analyzes where each one of your closers spends every single minute of the day and showing that as a productivity score, as well as where every single minute of the, like where what exact website are you spending your time on, how many times you're getting distracted, and what are the apps you're getting distracted with, and also ranking your level of focus out of 100 across the week, like daily, weekly, yearly, monthly, and the same exact thing with your meetings. And if you're not quantifying how much stuff you're getting done and how productive you are, and how much stuff do you get done in relation to the hours you're working, then again, you have another blind spot that doesn't, like, you lack data that is going to allow you to optimize your day for peak focus. Because if you track your focus levels at specific parts of the day, it's going to allow you to modify your routine to place your hardest tasks of the day at the peak hours of focus, and modify your calendar and your sales reps calendar towards the most optimal peak focus hours for each specific person, so that they're like their calendars are hyper optimized for the highest level of performance. So this is why you're probably not going to be able to fix this leaky bucket. You're going to be able to fix this here, this. You're going to be able to weld those leaks in the bucket, because sales skills, lead quality, and offer are pretty straightforward to fix. And there's a lot of things you can do to fix them, and you probably already know them. Lead quality is mostly on your control. Offer quality is you see what you offer, you see what the market resonate, or how the market resonates with the offer, and you keep tweaking until you optimize your offer, and your offer is as close to 10 out of 10 as possible. The same thing with lead quality. The same thing with sales skills. The thing with mental performance is that you're probably not really paying enough as much attention as you should be paying, because it's probably in your eyes, until you probably see this video, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're able to do the work that needs to get done and function on adrenaline, coffee, and stimulants, you're good. And you need to sacrifice now to do the reps so that you can enjoy tomorrow. But is it actually that way? Is sacrificing your mental performance and like being stressed out, burning out, and churning your reps every single month, every quarter, is that your way to go? Because if you like do this for your closers, let's say you're on a hypothetical world, you do this for your closers, your sales team is going to feel appreciated, that it's been taken care of. You're going to take care of your closers' health, so they're going to appreciate that. They're going to feel better mentally. They're probably going to perform better in the calls, so they're going to make you millions. If you have five sales reps that are averaging 50 to 80K month cash collected, that's millions of dollars. And they're probably, because of the appreciation, because of the amount of care that you're putting into your closers, they're probably not going to churn. They're less likely to churn. So you're going to build A players, and you're going to keep them for as long as possible. So I hope this video gave you a different perspective in regards to the things that you can do to make sure your sales team is not underperforming. If you want to see how you would be able to do those kinds of things, then what you need to do is to subscribe to my channel, and I will walk you through exactly the things, the actionables behind every single variable of mental performance, so you can give this to your sales team and build a system that will allow you to build A players and allow them to perform at their peak every single day and become machines. Or, I mean, if you want help with this, if you want help with integrating a system that uses their health data and performance data to optimize their sales performance so that they're closing at the highest rate possible, that's exactly what I do. So what you can do if you're interested in learning how we could integrate this for your own sales team so they can start performing at their best, I'll leave my calendar link below so you can check this out, and maybe I'll catch you on the inside or talk to you later. That being said, I hope this was useful, and speak soon.